Hello everyone. In this presentation, let us see about the principles of research ethics. I would like to present from the Nazi's experiments on prisoners of war during World War II, which happened around the 1940s. Those experiments are very cruel on human beings. They just if they put poison, what will happen to the human beings? They give the poison and they will record all those things, and they will leave them to die. And freezing experiments. They'll keep humans in water and they'll keep on reducing the temperature 0, -1, -2, -3, etc. and find how body responds to those temperature. Even they put humans in the boiling waters. So like this, many they will suppose malaria. They will inject the person with malaria and they will not treat them and they will see how those humans will die. So all these things they were done on human beings. These are very small glimpse of what they have done. A lot many has done on prisoners of war by Nazi. And the other one, the second one, Guatemala experiments was done by US in the year 1946 to 48, and they have done experiments on syphilis. Syphilis is a sexually transmitted disease. Syphilis, gonorrhea, all these things are sexually transmitted diseases, and they have taken Negroes. For them, they will deliberately inject the causing germs, these syphilis, and they are left untreated for longer period of duration. And doctors will check them what is happening to the human body. That was for 2 years. And the notorious study is Tuskegee syphilis study. That was happened for 4 decades, starting from 1932 to 1972. This is also on sexually transmitted disease, syphilis, and also gonorrhea. They have taken 600 Negroes. Let me go to the other PowerPoint. Suppose if you type Tuskegee and hit in Google, Tuskegee is a region. You can get this map. Tuskegee is a region in Alabama in US where the study was happened. It has happened for 4 decades. It was done by an organization, United States Public Health Service. They have taken 600 African Americans with syphilis. Even many of them, if they are not having normal person, they will inject the syphilis to them. And they will see how long they can live with this syphilis without any treatment. In those times, penicillin was the good medicine for this syphilis. It will cure, but they are not administered with penicillin. They are left untreated, and many of them got died, and somebody got blind, and disability has come for many people. All these things happen, and what they did instead, those black men were told that they possess bad blood. Because of them only they are treating. So like that they were telling, and some compensation, or little compensation are also given. And this study has thrown open some questions on research ethics. What are the appropriate clinical endpoints that should trigger termination of a trial? So suppose you are starting an experiment, when we have to end it, what is that appropriate endpoint? Because humans should not suffer in any study. Are placebo control defensible in trials with a terminally ill patient? There are some patients who are on deathbed. For them, can we conduct a placebo trial? Placebo means it's a neutral substance given, expecting a, a good a positive recovery. But we are not giving tablets. Just a neutral substance is given, expecting a good recovery. There is another one is the nocebo. Nocebo means we are giving a neutral thing and expecting a harmful thing which will be happening to the. These are the beliefs. What is the essential appropriate answer to the issue of participation of incompetent mentally ill patient in the research clinical trials? Where these were taken in Nazis experiment, many mentally ill patient prisoners of war, Jews, they have taken by Nazis. But if you take a mentally ill patient, they will not tell it what is the response. They could not able to live. Can we have them in our research? That is the third question. Can there be such a thing as true clinical equipoise? Equipoise means balance of positive and negative things. Suppose if you want to suppose if you want to prepare a drug for sugar, first we have to get a sugar patient, or otherwise for a normal patient we have to make them diabetic, and then we have to try drug on them. So whether there is a balance of these forces, so the beneficiary should be more, the harmfulness should be less. Use of refugees, prisoners of war, women of childbearing age, can they be a subjects? All these are questions emerged from Tuskegee field study. Let us move and then see what are the things that we can do to prevent these things. And the question is research ethics. So many people can do research. The research can be done in physics, chemistry, or economics, whatever may be the subject. But all the research, it has to come under the lens of research ethics. Then only this will be beneficial to the humans at large. And to speak about research ethics, this is not new, and the first of this kind, it has come by Hippocratic oath in 4th century BC. This was, now even today this was taken as a oath by medical profession at the graduating ceremony. So let us read it. I swear before my gods, my ancestors, my teachers, my fellow healers and apprentices, and by all the arts and knowledge I was privileged to learn, that I will stand by these words. I will love those who taught me these arts as I love my parents, and I will offer my skills to the young with the same generosity that they were given to me. And I will never ask them for gold, but demand that they stand by this covenant in return. I will say that if I earn fame and wealth, I will share it with my masters and my students. I will soothe the pain of anyone who needs my art, and if I don't know how, I will seek the counsel of my teachers. I will offer those who suffer all my attention, my science and my love. Never will I betray them or risk their well-being to satisfy my vanity. I will not hurt my fellow or put a knife to his flesh if I don't know how, or give them a herb to soothe his pain, even if he begs for it in anguish, if it might take away his breath. I will never harm my suffering friend, because life is a sacred. From the tender fruit that he once was in his mother's womb, to that first sigh he gave out between her legs, and when he opened his eyes to the world. I'll never try to understand his sorrows, but his secrets will never leave my ears. Under no circumstance I will use his body to advance my knowledge or my fame, unless in his last moment, or he or his widow give me his corpse, so that his death may help me understand how to soothe another's pain. I pray that attention I give to those who put themselves in hands be rewarded with happiness, and in honor the knowledge I have received from teachers, I swear to care for anyone who suffers, prince or slave. If I ever break this oath, let me gods take away my knowledge of this art and my own health. Here speaks a citizen, servant of people. May I be destroyed if I betray these words. See, these were the oath which was taken by the medical professional at their graduating ceremony. See, all the ingredients are there. The modern research ethical, which we are going to tell now, all these things are there. For a few, for example, and see, they will not ask for any gold. You can see, if they for treatment, the treatment will be for generosity. They won't ask anything in return. Okay, so many and you can see the confidentiality. I will try to understand the sorrows, but the secret will never leave my ears. Okay, and on informed consent only they will take the corpse, whether he or his widow give this. And if I lose it, see, the God can take away all those arts and my own wealth. So that's a kind of punishment. Can and many things. So see this. I will not hurt my fellow or put a knife to his flesh if I don't know how, which means the professional competence. So all these things we have here in this Hippocratic. That's what we are going to see in research ethics. The modern research ethics or Nuremberg Code in 1947 and which is followed by Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. These two has come because of the Nazis experiment and Guatemala experiments. And the Declaration of Helsinki in 1968, the Belmont Report in 1979, European Charter for Fundamental Rights in 2000. So all the models from 1947, we have 5 reports. All these are modern reports. Hippocratic Oath is also a good research ethics, which any research has to follow. And based on this, the old and the modern reports, we have 10 ethical principles that we are going to see. But before that, a small introduction on philosophy. Generally, we know that somebody may ask us, what is your philosophy towards life? And I'll be always living in happiness. I won't postpone any work. I'll try to help my friends. I'll be always cooperative. So these are the answers, responses given by different people. What is your philosophy towards life? Philosophy is love for wisdom. So the word tells it's a love for wisdom. It is a search for knowledge. So whatever may be the subject we study, after masters we are given a master of philosophy and doctor of philosophy. Whatever may be the subject. May it be in physics, may it be in botany, may it be in life science, may it be in social sciences or linguistic. The doctorate will be in philosophy in that subject. Master of philosophy in that subject after PG. That's because we are searching a truth. That way it is taken. The subject philosophy divided into 3 disciplines, branches of philosophy: metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology. Metaphysics deals with how metaphysics tells us what is really real, whether humans possesses mind and soul. His mind is different and soul is different. They speculate on these types of things. What is really real? Epistemology goes for the sources of knowledge. Knowledge can come from revelation, can come from intuition, can be experimental, can be rational. Which knowledge is correct? So that was analyzed by epistemology, sources of knowledge, and axiology. Axiology has 2 subdomains, ethics and aesthetics. Ethics is what we are going to see, and aesthetics is dealing about ugly and beautiful. Ethics. It is a set of rules and moral principles. So rules means just I would like to present 2 pictures here. The right picture you see a good traffic flow, a perfect traffic flow which follows the rules. The left is a traffic flow which got congested. The right one, generally we know that we have learned from our childhood. Traffic is a set of rules we have to follow. You have to walk on in India like country. You have to walk. You have to go on the left hand side, and when a signal triggers red, we have to stop. When it comes to green, we have to go. And if we follow these things, the traffic law will be as like on the right hand side. If we don't follow this, it will be as like on the left hand side. So ethics is also like that. It's a kind of rule. If we follow that, goodness will be happening. If you're not following that, badness will be happening. So ethics deals with good and bad, right and wrong, approval and disapproval, virtue and vice. And it tells us how we have to ought to act in certain situations. That's what it is dealt by ethics. Suppose if you take psychology, it is how human behavior behaves in a certain situation. Psychology, social sciences, anthropology. It sees how humans react in or respond in certain situations. But ethics tells us how we have to act in those situations. That is the difference. And you see, these are the salesperson in showrooms where they will be standing from morning to night. recently Tamil Nadu government in India, they have enacted an act that they possess right to sit in the showrooms. Salesperson, they can sit in the showroom. Therefore, a law has come, right to sit in. Whenever customers are not there, they can always sit. When customers are coming, then they can stand and show all the things. Other time they can sit so that their legs won't pain. So this is a kind of ethics. And you know this man, Ratan Tata, he has not removed an employees from his concern during the pandemic period. And that was in his ethics. So now let us go to the 10 ethical principles. The 10 ethical principles is kept under three categories. The first category is ethical scientific. Overall the research is ethical scientific inquiry, which has the principle as duty to the society. The second category, ethical conduct of the researcher. The third category is that of the subject. Three categories. One category is for the research as a whole. The second category is for the researcher. The third category is that of the subject. As a whole, we have only one ethical principle, duty to the society. And for the second, for researchers, we have four: conflict of interest, integrity, professional competence, professional discipline. This is the four under the category of researcher. The last category for participants, subjects, or samples we say, there are five: informed consent, beneficence, non-discrimination, non-exploitation, privacy, and confidentiality. These 10 we are going to see as ethical principle under three categories: duty to the society, conflict of interest, integrity, professional competence, professional discipline, informed consent, beneficence, non-discrimination, non-exploitation, privacy, and confidentiality.